Before I start the vid today, I was just going to let you know of an idea that I've got for this channel, and see what you think of it. You can put your thoughts in the comments. But I guess, like all of us, I have a lot of opinions that I don't really like to talk about on this channel. I just like to keep it try and keep it as focused on the ASX as I can. But what I'm finding myself is that there's stuff going on in the world, and there always is. But at the moment and more recently, there has been that I'm more interested in than the stock market. So I would actually probably prefer to talk about that sort of stuff than just talk about the stock market, even though the stock market is of interest to me. But more social events, political stuff. So the idea that I have is to actually talk more about that and actually bring up, try and engage in conversation with you guys out there, because everyone has a different opinion on these things, and I really can't find a good platform for myself where I can discuss these things in a way that I think is intelligent, without the name calling from both sides of from the left and the right. So my idea was to, if a controversial subject does come up in the near future, even happening at the moment, that I will talk about it. I'll give my opinion on it, and open it up for discussion from you guys. So turn this channel more from just about talking about the Australian stock market to talk about issues that are happening in society. Of course, a lot of those things do affect the stock market anyway, so there is that correlation there. I just thought I'd mention that before I start today's vid. Give me your opinion if you think that's a good idea or a really, really bad idea. I'll sort of respect what the majority says. If you think it's a good idea, then I'll just include it in this channel. If you think it's a bad idea, maybe what I'll do is I'll start a whole nother channel. But there's a lot of guys in America that do it, talk about the social stuff. Not so many that I can find in Australia. There are a few around. But what I find is that they have a bias, and what I'm going to try and do, I guess we all have biases, but I'll try and be as unbiased as possible. Just stick around the centre, and then we can go back and forth. But anyway, I'm waffling. So anyway, give me your thoughts on that. Now for the vid. Good morning, YouTube. Late again, but doing it nonetheless. The ASX review for last week, Friday the 5th of June. Let's take a little look at how the market went. It was another cracking week, really, up another 4%, which backs up the week before, up 4.7, and the week before that, maybe something similar. So it's had a really, really solid 3 weeks after it took a little bit of a breather, after it had a big run before that. The market went down March the 23rd. March 23rd, I think, was when the market actually hit its bottom with this coronavirus going on, and the XJO hit 4,200, and now we're back at basically 6,000. So we can say we're up nearly 30% off the bottoms there, and it's been almost constant. Like this week, all 5 days the market was up. So there's plenty of buying going on, and who knows. This week, 142 stocks were up and 58 stocks were down, and 0 were unchanged. Now let's look at the 5 gainers for the week. PLS was up the top again. It's been doing pretty well lately, up another 36%. That's Pilbara. URW was next best, up 28% for the week. That's Unirail. I think they're the mob that have all the shopping centres in Paris. It's as far as as much as I know about them, really. And I pretty much stay away from those sorts of companies because I really don't know anything about them, and I find them hard to read. But anyway, they had a good week, so obviously people do like them. Maybe Paris is doing well. ABC, that's a stock I do own. They're up 27%. PRN, which is Parenti, which is the old Ausdrill, sort of. They're up 23% for the week, up to $1.47, and ORE, another lithium play, up 19.15% to $2.80. The top 5 losers. Now, there's a lot of gold stocks here. Very volatile gold at the moment. Now, most of these stocks have had a really good run the last few months. So pulling back a little bit. If you have owned them over all that time, you wouldn't be too upset with the gains that you have Gold Road was the worst, down 14.36%. Saracen next, down 11.15%. Silver Lake down 10.73%. Northern Star down 8.92%. And Nufarm, which isn't a gold stock, they're more into agricultural seeds and sprays and that sort of stuff. We're down 8.7% for the week. Now, what I thought might be interesting, I was having a look at some of the bigger stocks, and when I say bigger, some of the companies with the largest individual unit price, if that makes sense, and looking at which stock might get to $1,000 per share first. So I've been looking at a few and working out what their value would be if their stocks were worth $1,000 each, and then just seeing if anything made sense where you could justify that $1,000 a share price. Anyway, let's just have a look at them. These are the five mainly I've been looking at. They are the five top stocks on the ASX as far as individual price goes, although we are missing two. I left out Macquarie. I just couldn't get excited about the banking sector at the moment. I just can't imagine Macquarie at $1,000 before a few of these others. And I left out Rio. I mean, the mining sector, a little bit the same, very cyclical. And yeah, it was really hard to imagine Rio putting on 10 times in the next decade or whatever it's going to take. So these are the five I was left with. CSL, which is just the best stock on the ASX, I guess. It's hard to argue how well they've done consistently over the last pretty much 30 years now. If they got to $1,000 a share, they would have a market cap of $453 billion. And it doesn't seem completely infeasible for that to happen. If they keep up the growth, and I guess there's a demand for what they do. So not infeasible. Cochlear, another company that doesn't look infeasible for them to have a market cap, individual share price of $1,000, because that would value the company with the current outstanding shares. That would value the company at $57.7 billion. REA, I speak about them a lot. They would be valued at $131 billion if they were worth $1,000 a share. Obviously they need to increase revenue by a lot, but they are the company that consistently sort of finds new ways to make a buck. So, again, not completely infeasible for that to happen. Now, this is an interesting one. XRO, I do own these. $141 billion, hard to imagine. It is hard to imagine from where they are now. I mean, obviously they'll need to put on 10, 12 times. They almost look expensive now. And yeah, I don't know whether they could ever get to $1,000 a share. But who knows? I mean, they've got a good record of increasing revenues, and they're just starting to actually put a bit of money in the bank these days. So maybe. And ASX, the other one, $183 billion for them. That looks a long way away as well. Their revenues would have to increase. They're not that an exciting company for them to, to put on, 11, 12 times to get to $1,000 a share. So hard to imagine it happening. So if it was going to be the first stock to $1,000 a share, I think it would be between the top three. Personally, that's what I would think. I would hope it's REA, because they're the ones I've got the most of. But perhaps Cochlear, who knows? $57 billion, that doesn't look terrible as far as a valuation for the company. Obviously, they'll need to keep improving revenues as well. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Maybe you've got a share of your own that you think will be the first to have a individual stock price of $1,000 a share. And if you have, let me know. I'd like to take a look at it. There's a few there. I mean, Blackmores, which was rocketing up there a few years ago. There's only 17 million outstanding shares of Blackmores, so for them to be $1,000 a share, that would value the company at $17 billion. A relatively smallish company still at $17 billion, but again, they've got a long way to go to achieve that. But they're another one that could. Anyway, we'll leave it there today, guys. A lot going on at the moment. Life returning to normal. Over here in WA, at least, pretty much back to normal as of today. No, as of Saturday it was. I actually went out for a ride on Saturday, and the places were packed. I was just cruising through some of the suburbs, just around the sort of the city centre, just out of it, and pubs, cafes, everything was packed. We went out yesterday. It wasn't so bad yesterday, I think. Calmed down a little bit. But yeah, we a little bit of trouble in the area. A few drunks roaming around, which we haven't seen for quite some time. So haven't missed that sort of stuff. But yeah, there is some downside, I guess, to getting our freedoms back. Some people abuse them, and can make life difficult for others. So I guess that's the downside. But essentially, we all want to have our freedom back and have the ability to do what we want to do. So yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to do that. No worries. I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you during the week.